Okay, I think we're back. So this again, hi, I'm Mike London. I'm with Boy Blue today. This is part two.
Part two.
Yeah, the internet interrupted us. Who knows why? It doesn't make any difference.
Probably me.
We were in the middle of talking about some of your latest work and what you're working on right now. So I'm real curious to see. You showed us one of the pieces that you were working on. Keep going. I want to see more.
So the second one I got in trouble for, and this
Yeah.
is my favorite because it was the most controversial. This one is technically a young newsboy that's modeled after Mary Magdalene, and he represents an over-sexualization of children in the 21st century. And this one sold the most, and I got in the most trouble for it. So I really enjoyed this one. I had a great time illustrating this one. And you can kind of tell, I know it's kind of hard to tell through the camera,
Yeah.
but you can tell from not just the humble body positioning of the arms across the chest, covering his body, but the oversized jacket and the coat that slightly hangs off the shoulder to imply a sexualization. Two hands on each other side of the shoulder, representing two different sides of society. That is, one that is orthodoxy, and then one that is postmodern, the sexual revolution. And so we have all of these things affecting this figure. I got in the most trouble for this one, but I loved this one the most because I think that the more people that are angry about things that I do, it means I'm doing my job correctly. So
So when you say Blue, when you say you got in trouble for it, tell me what that means.
So it came down mostly to what I wanted to do with that particular piece was to um, make people who agree with the way that I think more about why they think what they think and if it's wrong or not. And then with people who disagree with the way that I think, I want them also to question the way that I think as well, which worked which worked perfectly because everybody hopped on the train, whether you were politically right, politically left, whether you were progressive, whether you were whatever you were. It made everybody stop for a second and think. The whole series is about people who are disenfranchised, people who are left out of the equation. And are we thinking about them enough? So, you have some people who champion that kind of stuff and realize maybe we're not doing the best job. And some people who aren't championing that kind of stuff, maybe we need to do a better one. So I had like a lot of, a lot of moms message me on Facebook about it, which was really funny. I had a lot of super young people who didn't agree with the way that I approached the subject. And then I had just a whole bunch of people who just bought them, which was, so if fiscally responsible move, ideologically infuriating, which I thought was just the best because like I want to make more content like that. I want more angry people think a little bit more that way. I was happy to hear that.
So
Sorry, 1 second. I don't know.
yeah, go ahead.
There we go. The speaker was going wild.
It's going a little crazy. So did you sell prints?
I sold approximately, let me think. I think I sold like I sold almost 100, which was great.
Yeah.
It was it was awesome. I sold prints.
That's great.
Of these pieces at coffee shops, especially Ghostlight Coffee. They're a great coffee, by the way. Shout out to them. Ghostlight Coffee is a fantastic place.
Yeah.
They've always supported my artwork. So I sold a lot of these prints. This is the last one that I sold, and this one was modeled after Saint Michael. And he really just represented the end of times, the war scene, a child playing with a stick, running through a bombed street. This one, I think this one is the most well illustrated of the pieces because, if you think about the setting that the little boy is playing in, he's playing in a bombed street, a destroyed hallway, a corridor. You kind of think of it wasn't the child's fault that he's living in that particular instance, that circumstance, but there he is. So it makes you reflect, and that's the point of the series. The reflection is the point of the series. I thought when I made this series, I wanted people to, I thought it was easier for people to sympathize with the wrong things that they do than it is for somebody to look at someone who's super holy and want to be that. I've always found that a lot of my role models, a lot of things that I look up to, are people who've done bad things but have made retribution. Those are the people we really sympathize with. Those are the people we really empathize with because they represent hope. They don't represent somebody who's always lived in a constant state of happiness, a constant state of success, of victory. It's somebody who's failed and has come back. And I think that's just easier for not for me to. It's easier for me. I think it's easier for other people to sympathize with. So a lot of my art tends to be on the dark side, the darker side. Despite my personality, I get a lot of people who say that. This is such dark looking stuff. You're not a very dark person, are you? I was like, I'm not. No, not at all. I don't think so. I smile a lot. Actually, it's just the art that I make. It doesn't necessarily represent me. It represents something a little bit bigger. So that's just a little journey into the sketchbooks. Those were the originals, never before seen. So I'm glad we got to show those off somewhere. So
Yeah, I am too. I'm curious. I've got one more question for you
sure.
before we wrap today. I'm really curious about because you come from a background that is multidimensional in terms of artists. I'm curious about who is it that's out there doing work right now, either in this community or someplace else that really excites you, whether it's a musician, whatever kind of an artist, visual artist, performing art. I'm curious, who are the artists that excite you?
So I've always been heavily, and I'm gonna shout out a couple of people.
Yeah.
One in particular, there's an artist named Soul or Solomon, and he's younger than me, so he's really young, and I'm really young. So, but he uses spray paints, and he does something called it's technically called Jafro ethnic, technically, but it's a mixture between Japanese and African American art. And it's smashed together to make this really cool dynamic of street punk mixed with the type of rich and humble history that the people of Japan have. And when you mash them together, it's a really cool dynamic. And I was really inspired by his spray paintings of them. He does spray paintings of them. He also does a lot of spray paint.
Where is he working?
He's usually down in the Oregon district, and I met him actually while I was doing chalk. And he said, "Hey, can I bring a canvas over to your location, your area, and do this while you're doing this?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course you can do that." These types of young artists, and there's an artist named Super Zero. Super Zero is also located around downtown. Usually comes up with me to do stuff as well. Works very close with me. And he does a lot of pop art, but he's a very technically skilled artist who chooses images to draw that essentially don't have meaning until you assign it. And so he works really hard to get people to assign meaning to his pieces. Yeah, so it's your job to assign the meaning. He just creates it excellently. So it's these kinds of young pop artists are the ones I'm really focusing on. Because I've noticed there's a consistency when it comes to a lot of people who have been in the art game for a long time, and they're not willing to switch up what we're trying to do. I did a really short video on this a little while ago, and I was explaining that at some point, I think that it's really important for artists, visual artists, to start approaching art like musicians approach their art. So like I said, I'll say it any day, anytime, that anytime a musician makes a piece, they don't want you to listen to the piece just so you can get to the end of the song. They want you to listen to the piece to enjoy the entire song through every second of the piece. And the end should be solemn. When artists finish a visual piece of art, finishing the art should be solemn for everybody because the magic is stopped. And so I want people, and this is my campaign, I want people, artists, visual artists in particular, to be willing to go out there into the public, engage with people and show them the process because they're missing the magic. The magic is you making. Finishing the piece is a good thing. It's not the wherewithal though. And so these young artists in the community that I've shouted out already, they're making an effort to go out there and spread their art with them as an essential part of the art, which Culture Works has really helped us do. We've gone over to different working places and just been able to talk with people. That's been the magic of the art. Just putting up the art would have done nothing. or not little to nothing. It wouldn't have done what it was supposed to do. We needed to have the artist there, and Culture Works understands this. We need to have the artist there for people to enjoy the artist, because the magic is in the process and the artist is the process. So I find that really important, and that's what I'm excited about, because there's a lot of young artists who are catching on to that. Everyone's kind of getting on that, like, oh, the musicians have been doing it right for thousands of years. Where did we go wrong? And I think this is where we went wrong, and I think we can correct it. So that's what inspires me to keep going. I mean, this summer we're going to get it, because we have more younger artists ready to do this kind of stuff. So
Wow.
that gets me pumped. I'm like, you know.
That's great. That's great. Blue, thank you so much for this. I'm missing the fact we don't get to have all of the real life interaction. We're doing Zoom. We're in the middle of this COVID pandemic right now. And so many artists, so many arts organizations, their schedules, their livelihoods, things just like everything else in that we have in the community has been curtailed, and in some cases curtailed pretty dramatically. So we don't have the chance to have those big crowds around doing some of this stuff. I've appreciated what you've done for us with Culture Works, especially with the Montgomery County campaign that I've been working on. It's always such great fun. So we're missing that this year, but I'm really glad to be able to have this chance to talk to you now. And for everybody else that's out there listening and watching on this, I want you to remember what's going on in the arts right now. Encourage you strongly to support Culture Works and to support the arts. They're indispensable assets for our community. These are the artists that, when you support Culture Works, these are the artists that are supported. If you want to know more about Culture Works, don't forget to go to the website. It's cultureworks.org. Cultureworks.org. Go there. You'll learn all about Culture Works and everything else with what it means to become a member and how to support in the best way that you possibly can. Blue, thank you. I appreciate it, and I look forward to the time we can get back together.
It's always great. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
I'll see you.
Great. Thank you.